Hey folks, how's it going? Sane here, welcome back to the channel. So before I get too far into it, I want to make a little bit of an announcement about the direction that I'm going to take this channel. So after a long think, a long think, I have decided to rebrand, because in hindsight I don't know what the hell I was thinking choosing Silent Techie like that. That was terrible. So without further ado, welcome to Absolute Budget Tech. My name is Josh, and today the sun has risen and has granted you all a review of the Ryzen 5 2400G right after the brand new intro. Let's go. Huh? What do you think? So, I've already let it known in an earlier video, which was the review of the GTX 275, which you should check out in whatever corner it comes up in, that I upgraded to the Ryzen 5 2400G from my old i5 3550. And what an absolute upgrade this was. As was stated in the Athlon 200GE videos, this is a Zen based APU that launched as part of the second generation of Ryzen. But for today, it's the highest end APU, the 2400G, that we are looking at. The Ryzen 5 2400G is a quad-core processor that features 8 threads, as well as 11 Vega GPU cores, a base clock of 3.6 GHz, and a TDP of 65 watts. The Vega 11 integrated graphics run at a frequency of 1250 MHz, and the memory frequency is tied in to whatever speed RAM you are using. So in this case, it is 1600 MHz. Now let's get into the benchmarking results. But before that, the system that we are using today is naturally the 2400G paired with the Ahrix B450M Pro 4F motherboard with 16GB of Patriot Viper Steel DDR4 running at 3200 MHz. The graphs today have a watermark on them, unfortunately, as they are from vislo.com. Thanks to a license problem that I had with Office, so I couldn't make my Excel graphs, and then when I got it sorted out, I already made these ones and I didn't really want to go back and make more. And I've already put this video like way back. I should have released this months ago, so I'm just gonna live with it, and I guess you guys are too. Finally, I will be showing a stock clocks versus overclocked clocks, just to see how much performance you can get just from a simple overclock, or if it's even worth it. Let's get into it. Alright, so now that you've seen what the 2400G is capable of in productivity tasks, let's move on to the gaming results. I'm going to show you results with the integrated Vega 11 graphics, as well as when it's paired with an Ahrix 570. Here we go. Whoa, wait, hold up. I went to test the Vega 11 integrated graphics with CSGO and Rocket League. And it turns out that the Vega 11 integrated graphics seem to have a bit of a problem handling any gaming through what seemed to be a driver issue. I contacted AMD and apparently they're looking into it, but as of yet I haven't heard anything from them. And even with the latest update, Adrenaline, I don't know what it is, but with the latest GPU update hasn't fixed it. So it was working before. So that's what leads me to think it's a driver problem. So unfortunately, this is now just a review of the 2400G's gaming performance when paired with an RX 570. Alright, So let's move on. So, as you saw from the gaming and productivity benchmarks, the 2400G is a very capable CPU, and although it lacks the power of a Ryzen 5 2600 or higher, it still makes for a great choice for the budget gamer or budget content creator. However, if you do more intensive CPU workloads, you will notice that the snappiness of the system decreases, such as when using 3D modeling software like Autodesk Maya, or 3D texturing in Substance Painter. With that being said, it's still more than up to the task, and in my experience, it performed similarly to a fourth gen i7 in these programs. So now I'm going to talk about some of the weirdness that we saw here. As you saw from the graphs, CSGO and Rocket League had ridiculously high FPS when overclocked to just a mere 300 MHz. Now, for a while, I had no idea what was going on. Spoke to several different people on forums, on Facebook. No one really understood why there was such a dramatic increase when it's just being overclocked very simply. Like, we saw a massive increase in Rocket League and in CSGO with I think over 100 FPS difference, which is mind blowing. When overclocked, Rocket League was using 2 cores, or 2 threads I should say, I guess. 2 of the 8 threads, and they were being half used, whereas at stock they were being only about 1/4 used. So maybe it's just this fact that it's using a higher CPU load, so it's using more of the CPU resources, that it's somehow able to push it higher. And with CSGO, as we all know, or at least if you don't, CSGO is a very single threaded game that relies on high core clocks and high IPCs, and I guess the fact that we boosted the core clocks up 300 MHz somehow made a dramatic increase, but I'm still stunned at the results, and I'm not too sure what to think of them. Now, as for the overclock, I achieved a stable overclock at 3.9 GHz with 1.3875 volts. Any lower and it was no longer stable. I didn't really want to push it too much higher. So I guess the question at the end of the day is it even worth it? I will say absolutely. This is my daily driver, and at least until I can get something better, this will stay in my daily driver system. Although for you guys, I would recommend maybe getting the 3400G, as it is built on a newer process node with better Vega 11 graphics, which do outperform the 2400G's graphics. Of course, at the end of the day, you know your budget and you know what you plan to use this CPU for, so its worth may vary depending on your planned usage. Thank you for watching. If you liked the video, go ahead and leave a like, and feel free to comment below with your experiences with this processor if you have had any. Hit the subscribe button if you want more tech videos coming your way, and as always, I'll see you in the next one.